The ultimatum and the decision. The gigantic hologram loomed over the United Earth Council chamber, casting an eerie blue glow across the hushed assembly. Ambassador Marcus Reed felt his throat tighten as he stared up at the alien figure. Tall and imposing with iridescent scaled skin, 4 piercing yellow eyes, and ornate armor that seemed to shift colors with every slight movement. "I am Grand Admiral Zirax of the Galactic Hegemony," the alien announced, his voice artificially translated into English, yet still carrying an otherworldly resonance that sent chills down Marcus's spine. "Your primitive planet has been scheduled for integration. You will surrender all sovereignty, disarm your military forces, and prepare for the arrival of our administrative fleet in 72 Earth hours." The hologram flickered once, then continued with cold precision. "Resistance is illogical. 347 civilizations have joined our hegemony. Those who resisted no longer exist. Choose wisely." The transmission ended abruptly, plunging the council chamber into momentary darkness before the regular lights activated. For several seconds, nobody spoke. The 60 representatives of Earth's nations sat frozen, processing the reality of their situation. President Elena Zhao of the United Earth government finally broke the silence. "It seems humanity has a decision to make," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Admiral Vega, your assessment." Admiral Sofia Vega rose from her seat at the military affairs table. At 53, her salt and pepper hair and weathered face reflected 25 years of commanding Earth's unified defense forces. "Madam President, the alien fleet at the edge of our solar system consists of approximately 200 vessels of varying sizes. Their technology appears to be centuries beyond our conventional capabilities." Murmurs of dismay rippled through the chamber. Marcus noticed several representatives already looking defeated. However, Admiral Vega continued, her voice gaining strength. "They don't know what we've been preparing for the past 15 years. The Admiral nodded to a slender woman with intense eyes who sat at the science delegation table. "Dr. Chen, please brief the council." Dr. Ilara Chen, Earth's foremost quantum physicist, approached the central podium. With a few deft movements, she activated a new holographic display showing schematics of technology, unfamiliar to most in the room. "Since the Proxima Centauri incident of 2047, we've been developing defensive systems based on recovered alien technology," Dr. Chen explained. "Project Prometheus has remained top secret, known only to a handful of scientists and military personnel." She expanded the hologram to reveal a satellite network surrounding Earth. "The Prometheus shield uses quantum entanglement principles to create a defensive barrier the hegemony's weapons cannot penetrate. At least, that's our theory based on analysis of their energy signatures." President Zhao leaned forward. "You're saying we can defend ourselves?" "Potentially," Dr. Chen replied cautiously. "But there's more." She swiped to reveal another schematic. "We've also developed what we call asymmetric response vessels. They appear primitive on outside scans but contain our most advanced systems." Ambassador Reed finally spoke up. "I'm not a military strategist, but even with these advancements, we're facing an empire that's conquered hundreds of worlds. What makes us think we can succeed where they failed?" Admiral Vega stepped forward again. "Because we're not like the others. From what intelligence we've gathered through deep space monitoring, the hegemony follows a predictable conquest pattern. They expect immediate capitulation from primitive species. When they encounter resistance, they apply overwhelming but conventional force." She pulled up tactical displays showing battle footage apparently captured from distant worlds. "Look at their formation patterns, their attack sequences. They're rigid, algorithmic. They've conquered so many worlds they've become complacent." Marcus watched the footage with growing interest. "And you believe we can exploit that?" "Precisely," Admiral Vega nodded. "Humanity has always excelled at asymmetric warfare when outgunned and outnumbered. It's in our history, our DNA. We don't fight fair. We fight to win." Japanese Representative Takashi Yamamoto raised his hand. "What of diplomacy?" Have we exhausted all peaceful options? Marcus shook his head regretfully. I've analyzed every word of their message. There was no invitation to negotiate, only to surrender. Their communication patterns suggest a civilization that doesn't see us as equals worthy of dialogue. The chamber fell silent again as the reality sank in. President Zhao stood, commanding attention. Let me be clear about what we're discussing. We are contemplating defiance against a vastly superior galactic power. If we're wrong, it could mean the end of human civilization. And if we surrender, countered Admiral Vega, based on our observations of other conquered worlds, they'll strip our planet of resources, conscript our population for labor, and erase our culture. It will be the end of human civilization either way, just a slower, more humiliating one. Dr. Chen stepped forward again. There's another factor to consider. The hegemony's technology, while advanced, appears standardized across all their conquest campaigns. They haven't needed to innovate in centuries because no one has effectively challenged them. She brought up new schematics. Human technological development has been chaotic and diverse by comparison. We've explored avenues they've never considered because we've developed in isolation. Our quantum approach to defense and propulsion systems operates on principles their sensors may not be calibrated to detect. President Zhao surveyed the room. We need to decide. Do we surrender or do we fight? One by one, representatives began to speak. Some argued for caution, others for defiance. Marcus listened intently, weighing each perspective. African Union Representative Dr. Namono Kalu rose to speak. Throughout human history, those who surrendered their sovereignty rarely regained it. If this is to be humanity's last stand, let it be one that defines who we are. The debate continued for hours as intelligence reports streamed in about the hegemony fleet's position. They remained at the edge of the solar system, waiting for Earth's response. Finally, President Zhao called for a formal vote. The results appeared on screens throughout the chamber. 48 for resistance, 12 for surrender. Then it's decided, she announced. Humanity stands its ground. Admiral Vega, activate the Prometheus Protocol. Ambassador Reed, prepare our response to the hegemony. As the council dispersed to implement the decision, Marcus approached Dr. Chen and Admiral Vega in a quiet corner of the chamber. I'll be delivering our message personally, he told them. What should I know that wasn't shared with the full council? Admiral Vega's expression became grim. The Prometheus shield is untested against their specific weapons. It should work in theory, but theories don't always survive contact with reality. Marcus finished for her. Dr. Chen nodded. We have contingencies, but this will be the ultimate field test. And our offensive capabilities? Marcus asked. We have 70 experimental vessels with quantum-shifted drives that should be invisible to their standard sensors, Admiral Vega explained. We've also modified our orbital defense platforms with similar technology. Marcus took a deep breath. So we're betting everything on the element of surprise and technology they won't expect. It's worked for us before, Admiral Vega said quietly. Throughout history, technologically superior forces have been defeated by innovative underdogs. The hegemony has become predictable. That's their weakness. Marcus nodded thoughtfully. I'll keep my message brief then. No point telegraphing our strategy. 3 hours later, Marcus stood in Earth's designated first contact facility as a hegemony shuttle descended from orbit. Security forces maintained a discreet perimeter, while automated defenses remained hidden but ready. The shuttle's sleek design reflected advanced material science, its hull appearing to absorb rather than reflect light. It landed with barely a sound, and a ramp extended smoothly to the ground. 2 Imperial guards emerged first, tall, armored figures carrying energy weapons. Then came the ambassador himself, a being similar to Admiral Zirax, but with elaborate facial markings that Marcus guessed denoted political rather than military rank. I am Sub-Consul Krevak, the alien announced as translation software converted his speech. I have come to accept your world's surrender and arrange the details of your integration into the glorious hegemony. Marcus stepped forward, maintaining the precise diplomatic distance his team had calculated would appear respectful without submissive. "I am Ambassador Marcus Reed of the United Earth Government," he began formally. "I thank you for coming personally to receive our message." Krevak's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Marcus couldn't interpret. "You have prepared your surrender documents. We will require the deactivation codes for your primitive defense systems and access to your governmental databases." Marcus kept his expression neutral. "Subconsul Krevak, I regret to inform you that Earth will not be surrendering. We have received your demand and respectfully decline." The alien's posture stiffened. "Perhaps translation error has occurred. Your world has no choice in this matter. Surrender is the only option that prevents your extinction." "We understand the consequences of our decision," Marcus replied calmly. "Earth has declared its solar system sovereign territory. We request that all hegemony vessels withdraw beyond the orbit of Pluto within 24 hours. Krevak's skin flushed a deep purple, clearly an emotional response. "This response is irrational. Your species cannot hope to resist the hegemony fleet." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. "Perhaps, but we would prefer to determine our own fate. We have transmitted coordinates marking our claimed boundary. Cross that line with hostile intent, and you will discover why Earth is different from the other worlds you've conquered. You speak brave words for a species about to be erased from the galaxy." Krevak snarled, his translator struggling to capture the emotion in his voice. "Not brave," Marcus corrected. "Just human. We don't welcome those who threaten our home." The subconsul stared at Marcus for several long moments before turning abruptly and marching back to his shuttle. The guards followed, their weapons still holstered but clearly ready. As the shuttle rose into the sky, Admiral Vega approached from the security perimeter. "Well done, Ambassador." "How did he take it?" Marcus watched the shuttle become a distant speck in the blue sky. "About as expected." Confused, then angry. "They really aren't used to being refused." "Good," the Admiral nodded. "Confusion works in our favor. It creates hesitation." "How much time do you need to complete preparations?" Marcus asked. Admiral Vega checked her tactical display. "The last Prometheus satellites are moving into position now. Dr. Chen's team is making final adjustments to the quantum frequency modulators. We'll be as ready as we can be within 12 hours. Marcus looked up at the sky again, knowing that beyond the peaceful blue lay a fleet of warships preparing to attack his world. "Do you think we can really win this?" The Admiral was quiet for a moment. "I think we can show them something they've never seen before. And sometimes that's enough to change the rules of the game." As they walked back toward the command center, emergency alerts began sounding across the planet. Earth's population, already briefed on the possible threat, began moving into prepared shelters. Military units deployed to defensive positions. The Prometheus protocol shifted from preparation to active status. Humanity was bracing for the first interstellar war in its history. They had approximately 20 hours before they would discover if their gamble would pay off or if civilization would end in fire from above. But as Marcus observed the disciplined response to the crisis, he felt a surprising emotion rising within him. Pride. Whatever came next, humanity would face it on their terms, standing tall rather than kneeling in submission. The galactic hegemony was about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating the third planet from an unremarkable yellow star. Defiance and victory. The massive view screen in Earth's unified command center displayed the approaching hegemony fleet in terrifying detail. 200 vessels in perfect formation, their sleek designs radiating technological superiority. At their center, the Dreadnought-class command ship dwarfed everything around it. "They're crossing the boundary line in 5 minutes," announced Lieutenant Sarah Chen, Dr. Chen's younger sister and one of Earth's most talented tactical officers. Admiral Vega nodded grimly. "Right on schedule. They want to make a point by ignoring our warning completely." She turned to the communications officer. "Any response to our final request for withdrawal?" "Only this, Admiral," the officer replied. playing a brief transmission. The face of Grand Admiral Zirax filled the screen. Your defiance is noted and will be recorded in the Imperial Archives as a historical curiosity. The hegemony has encountered primitive resistance before. It always ends the same way. President Zhao, who had insisted on remaining in the command center rather than the secure bunker designated for civilian leadership, stepped forward. "They're so confident, overconfident," corrected Admiral Vega. "They're coming straight at us. Standard conquest formation. No scouts, no flanking maneuvers, just like the footage we've analyzed from other invasions." Dr. Ilara Chen entered the command center, looking exhausted but focused after 3 days of minimal sleep. The Prometheus network is fully operational. All 64 satellites are synchronized, and the quantum shield is ready to activate on your command. "And our offensive capabilities?" Admiral Vega asked. "The ARV fleet is in position, powered down and running silent behind the moon. Quantum signatures masked. As far as the hegemony sensors are concerned, we have nothing but a few primitive orbital platforms and conventional defense satellites." The Admiral checked the countdown timer. 2 minutes to boundary crossing. All personnel to battle stations. Activate all defensive measures. Throughout Earth's orbital space, seemingly ordinary satellites suddenly changed configuration, revealing advanced technology previously hidden from scans. Behind the moon, 70 sleek vessels powered up their unique drives while remaining invisible to standard detection methods. In the command center, tension mounted as the seconds ticked away. President Zhou moved to stand beside Admiral Vega. "The fate of our species rests on what happens in the next hour," she said quietly. The Admiral nodded. "Humanity has faced extinction-level threats before. We're still here." The timer reached 0. On the view screen, the hegemony fleet crossed the boundary line. "They've entered claimed Earth space," Lieutenant Chen announced. "They're powering weapons systems. Energy buildup detected in their forward batteries." "Let them fire first," Admiral Vega ordered. "We need the galaxy to know who the aggressors are." They didn't have to wait long. The hegemony fleet released a coordinated barrage of energy weapons, streaking toward Earth in waves of destructive force, designed to overwhelm any defensive systems and clear the way for their invasion forces. "Prometheus shield activate now," Dr. Chen called out. For a breathless moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, as the energy weapons approached Earth's orbit, they encountered an invisible barrier. Instead of continuing toward the planet, the beams of destructive energy distorted, bent, and then dissipated harmlessly into space. Stunned silence gripped the command center, broken only when Dr. Chen pumped her fist in triumph. "The quantum shield works. Their weapons are operating on predictable energy frequencies just as we theorized." Admiral Vega allowed herself one brief smile before refocusing. "Excellent. Now for Phase 2. All ARV units, execute Operation Thunderstrike." From behind the moon, Earth's experimental fleet suddenly appeared, using their quantum-shifted drives to effectively teleport into the midst of the surprised hegemony formation. The human vessels appeared primitive at first glance, a deliberate design choice to mask their true capabilities. "ARV fleet reporting direct hits," Lieutenant Chen announced as the tactical display updated. "The hegemony vessels are attempting to reorient their weapons, but our phase shifting is preventing target locks." On the view screen, the once perfect Imperial formation began to break apart as Earth's ships executed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics, appearing and disappearing across the battlefield faster than the standardized hegemony targeting systems could track. Grand Admiral Zirax's face appeared on the command channel again, his composure noticeably shaken. "What trickery is this? Your technology cannot possibly exist." Admiral Vega interrupted, activating her own transmission. "You assumed we would develop along predictable lines. That was your first mistake. Your second was threatening our home." She cut the transmission and turned to her tactical team. "Execute Phase 3. Earth's defense satellites suddenly shifted their configurations again, revealing weapon systems unlike anything the hegemony had encountered in centuries of conquest. Rather than conventional energy weapons, they emitted precisely calibrated quantum disruption fields. Disruption fields at full capacity, Dr. Chen reported. Targeting their command ship, the fields enveloped several of the larger hegemony vessels, including Grand Admiral Zirax's dreadnought. Almost immediately, the ship's external systems began failing as the quantum disruption interfered with their standardized technology. "Their shields are down," Lieutenant Chen announced. "Primary weapons offline. They're attempting to adapt, but the frequency modulation is preventing them from finding a countermeasure." Admiral Vega leaned forward, studying the tactical display with intense concentration. "Now's our chance. All ARV units, target their propulsion systems. Disable, don't destroy unless absolutely necessary." Earth's ships executed the order with precision, firing specialized weapons that neutralized the engines of the larger hegemony vessels without causing catastrophic damage. "Approximately 30% of the hegemony fleet is now immobilized," Lieutenant Chen reported. "The remainder are attempting to regroup and establish a defensive perimeter." "They're protecting their command ship," Admiral Vega observed. "Time for the final phase. Ambassador Reed, you're up." Marcus Reed, who had been observing from the diplomatic station, moved to the communications console, opening channel to Grand Admiral Zirax. The alien commander's face appeared once more, now showing clear signs of stress. Behind him, bridge officers moved frantically as emergency lighting flickered. "Grand Admiral," Marcus began formally, "your fleet is currently at a significant disadvantage. We have disabled nearly a third of your vessels and can continue until none remain operational. However, we would prefer to end this conflict without further violence." Zirax's four eyes narrowed in fury. "Impossible. No primitive world has ever." "And yet, here we are," Marcus interrupted smoothly. "The evidence is before you. Earth is not like the other worlds you've conquered. We developed in isolation, taking different technological paths. Your standardized approach to warfare, so effective against similar civilizations, is inadequate here." The Admiral's scales darkened with emotion. "What are your terms?" Marcus glanced at President Zhao, who nodded her approval. "The entire Sol system is now recognized as sovereign human territory, off-limits to hegemony forces. You will withdraw all remaining operational vessels immediately. Your disabled ships will be allowed to make repairs sufficient for retreat, but only under our supervision. And if I refuse these humiliating terms," Zirax growled. Admiral Vega stepped into view beside Marcus. "Then we continue disabling your fleet piece by piece until nothing remains functional. Your choice, Admiral." After a tense silence, Zirax spoke again, his voice tight with controlled rage. "I accept your terms under protest. This matter will not end here. The full might of the hegemony will reconsider its approach to Earth," Marcus completed firmly. "We have recorded this entire encounter and are broadcasting it across all known communication frequencies. The galaxy is watching, Admiral. They're seeing the supposedly unbeatable force retreating for the first time." Zirax's expression became unreadable. "You have made a powerful enemy today. Perhaps," Marcus acknowledged, "or perhaps we've created an opportunity for something new. Mutual respect between different civilizations. Either way, Earth stands ready." The transmission ended abruptly. On the tactical display, the remaining operational hegemony vessels began moving toward their disabled counterparts, preparing to assist with emergency repairs. A stunned silence filled Earth's command center, broken when someone began to applaud. Others joined in until the entire room erupted in celebration. Personnel embraced, cried, laughed. The full emotional release of people who had faced possible extinction and emerged victorious. President Zhao raised her hands for quiet. When the room settled, she spoke with evident emotion. "This is a historic day for humanity. For the first time, we have taken our place among the stars not as victims or subjects, but as equals." She turned to Admiral Vega and Dr. Chen. Your teams have saved our planet. The gratitude of every human being goes with you." Admiral Vega nodded in acknowledgement, but her expression remained serious. "We've won a battle, not the war. The hegemony will return, and next time they won't underestimate us. Then we'll be ready," Dr. Chen asserted confidently. "Now that we've field-tested the Prometheus systems, we can improve them further. And the data we've collected on their technology will help us develop new countermeasures." Marcus approached the group. "We should consider the diplomatic angle as well. This victory will have repercussions throughout the galaxy. Other subjugated worlds will have seen that the hegemony isn't invincible." "Potential allies," President Zhao suggested. "Potentially," Marcus agreed. "At minimum, we should establish communication with other civilizations beyond the hegemony's control. We need to understand the broader galactic political landscape." Over the next several hours, Earth forces maintained vigilant watch as the hegemony fleet slowly reassembled. Damaged vessels were towed by their operational counterparts. True to their word, human ships allowed the aliens to make necessary repairs while keeping weapons systems powered down. 12 hours after the battle, the last hegemony vessel crossed back over the boundary line, heading out of the solar system. Long-range sensors tracked them until they engaged their faster-than-light drives and disappeared from conventional detection. In the aftermath, humanity began the process of adapting to its new reality. The secret of Earth's defensive capabilities was now public, both to the population and to the galaxy at large. The scientific breakthroughs that had made victory possible would transform human society in countless ways. 1 week after the battle, the United Earth Council convened again, this time with representatives from the military, scientific, and diplomatic corps, presenting their assessments of the new galactic situation. Admiral Vega stood before the assembled representatives. "We anticipate the hegemony will return, but not immediately. They'll need time to analyze our technology and develop countermeasures. That gives us perhaps a year, maybe 2, to strengthen our defenses." Dr. Chen followed with her presentation. "The Prometheus systems performed beyond expectations, but we've identified several areas for improvement. With proper funding and resource allocation, we can expand the quantum shield to protect our entire solar system, not just Earth and its immediate orbit." When Marcus took the podium, he brought surprising news. "We've received communications from 12 different non-hegemony civilizations since our broadcast of the battle. They're requesting diplomatic contacts. 3 have offered technological exchanges, and 5 have suggested mutual defense agreements." President Zhao absorbed this information before addressing the council. "For centuries, humanity has looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we know not only that we have neighbors, but that we have earned their respect. What we do with that respect will define our species for generations to come." She stood straighter, her voice growing stronger. "We will not become conquerors ourselves. We will not use our unique technologies to subjugate others, as the hegemony attempted to do to us. Instead, we will forge a new path, one based on mutual respect, cooperation, and the right of all intelligent species to self-determination." Marcus watched the representatives nodding in agreement and felt a profound sense of pride. Humanity had not merely survived its first interstellar crisis, it had discovered its place in the greater community of worlds. As the council meeting concluded, he found himself standing with Admiral Vega and Dr. Chen near a large viewport overlooking Earth. The blue-green planet seemed somehow more precious now, more fragile yet also more remarkable, knowing what its inhabitants had accomplished. "Do you think they understood what really happened out there?" Dr. Chen asked quietly. Admiral Vega raised an eyebrow. "The hegemony? I doubt it. They've been the dominant force for so long they can't conceive of fundamental defeat. We didn't just beat their weapons," Marcus observed. "We challenged their entire worldview. In their conquest of hundreds of worlds, they developed blind spots, assumptions about how civilizations progress, how technology develops, how warfare works. And humanity developed differently." Dr. Chen nodded. Our isolation forced us to innovate along paths they never explored. Our greatest strength was that we didn't know what was supposed to be impossible, Admiral Vega concluded with a rare smile. We didn't follow the rules because we never learned them. As they stood watching the planet turn below them, a new transmission appeared on Marcus's diplomatic channel. It came from a distant system beyond hegemony control, a civilization that called itself the Collective of Free Worlds. The message was brief but profound. Earth has done what many thought impossible. You have shown that the future belongs not to those who conquer, but to those who refuse to be conquered. We await your voice in the greater community of stars. Marcus shared the message with his companions. Together, they contemplated the new era that was dawning, one in which humanity would take its place among the stars not through submission, but through the same stubborn defiance and innovative spirit that had saved their world. Earth had sent its message to the galaxy. You are not welcome here. And the galaxy had listened.